Hey guys, it's time for our next ranking video. I asked for your input as to what I should rank next, and in the comment section, Dinosaurs said maybe you should rank the Jurassic Park movies at one point. Well, that point has come up, and it is now. So with all that in mind, be sure to tell me what series you would like me to rank next, because, hey, I just might pick yours, and yours could be up next. But he picked Jurassic Park, and I love that suggestion because I love these movies. Well, I love several of these movies. At least one of them is phenomenal. And I was the perfect age when the first movie came out. I was like 11, 12 years old. And so I was the perfect age to still be wowed by it with the childhood wonder and awe. Just at that moment where CGI got there, with a director like Steven Spielberg, who could just absolutely pull out the majesty of we're actually seeing dinosaurs, and I still had the brain of a child when I first saw this. So this movie for me is phenomenal. This series for me has all sorts of magic sweet spots in my heart, as well as quite a bit of disappointment with some of the movies in this series. But with all that said, let's go ahead and look at how Rotten Tomatoes ranked these movies. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Jurassic Park 3 with 50%. So even the weakest one in here is still kind of half of critics are giving it a thumbs up, half giving it thumbs down. Coming at number 3 is The Lost World Jurassic Park with 53%. At number 2 is Jurassic World with 71%. And with a big leap up from there, at number 1 is Jurassic Park with 93%. Now, even seeing a 93%, which is a really high number, I see that number and I because of how much I love that movie and because of my age and many other factors, I see 93% and go, how is this movie so low? Who's this 7% of people that was like, Jurassic Park, that one sucks? Who are those people? I really want to know. But anyway, those are my quick thoughts on it. Before I dive into actually reviewing and ranking each one of these movies, go ahead and put your ranking down below in the comments section. Any sort of feedback you want. And like I said before, tell me what movies you want me to rank next, and I just might pick yours next go around. And also coming up this Saturday, I'll be ranking every single Christopher Nolan movie. As Dunkirk is coming out, I'll watch that one, shoot my review. I rewatched Following a few days ago. Every single one of them, it's coming up this weekend. But without further delay, let's dive into this. Coming in at number 4 for me is going to be Jurassic Park 3. Now, this movie on paper seems like it could have a lot of things going for it. You've got Sam Neill. So the lead guy from Grant coming back from the first movie. It's a straightforward, streamlined story of just an adventure on that original island. So that's not a bad thing. And then it's got Joe Johnston as the director. And this is the guy that did The Rocketeer, another movie for me that came out when I was about 10, 11 years old. And it came out the summer I actually got to go to Disney World. So I met The Rocketeer. So this is the guy that's directed movies I've really enjoyed. He went on to direct Captain America, The First Avenger. He's done some really good stuff. So him doing a Jurassic Park movie on paper seems awesome. Seems like a really good fit. But for whatever reason, this movie just doesn't work quite right. There's a few things in this movie that are just bad. There's this dream sequence in it where there's a talking, is it Velociraptor turns to Grant on a plane and says something, and you're watching it like I'm watching a Jurassic Park movie, and they just had a dinosaur talk. Granted, it is a dream sequence, but at the same time, a dream sequence like this doesn't fit in a Jurassic Park movie with the way all the other movies in the series, all the way it's worked. You're watching it, and it just feels so out of place in the movie with what they're doing. Beyond that, there's stuff going on with Taya Leone and kind of her marriage issues and things that they don't quite work right. And for what they were going with this movie, you could tell they were trying to do it's by far the shortest of the Jurassic Park movies. It's a very streamlined. People got trapped, or a kid gets stranded on an island. They got to come in on a rescue mission and get them out of there. So very much streamlined plot line. And to that point, it's not boring. It goes by quick enough. There's some decent enough moments in there, I guess. But overall, it's just so forgettable. There's nothing that pops. There's not like an action sequence, an adventure sequence that's memorable. There's not a tense sequence like the the kitchen sequence with the velociraptors. There's nothing like that you remember. There's nothing like the sequence in Lost World where the trailer goes off the cliff and the glass is slowly cracking around them, or the scene where all the military guys are running from velociraptors and T-Rex and guys get smashed and they're jumping out of nowhere. There's nothing memorable about this one. Now, they tried to do some stuff that was from the original book that they didn't make it into the original movie, like the pterodactyl chamber thing. I believe it's pterodactyls. And so they did some stuff we hadn't seen before, but the way the sequence plays out just isn't all that memorable. And even the Grant character, kind of what made him interesting in the first one isn't that he's like this big, charismatic adventurer. That's not really what he is. He's an expert that's a really good guy that doesn't like kids, that finds himself with some kids, and because he's a good man, he's going to try and rescue the kids. But in the first half of the movie, he's interesting because he presents he's present with all these other characters, and we'll talk about when we get to the original Jurassic Park. But he's present in a group of characters to where he's interesting because of the scenario that he's in and the people that he's around make him interesting in talking about things. It's interesting that he's the guy that has to rescue these kids because of his character arc and the growth that's happening kind of with him, what's going on. That's what makes a lot of that interesting. He's not just in and of himself as a normal guy, an Indiana Jones adventurer that you send to rescue people. That's what the plot called for him to do. But that doesn't bring the best out of the character. And so you'd think it would be exciting to see him here, but it's not as exciting as it should be. The new characters, even though we've got, I really like Téa Leoni, I like William H. Macy, but here they're just pretty forgettable. And that's kind of the key thing. It's by far the most forgettable. It might not, like you could say some of the other ones on the list might have some bigger script issues and plotting issues and be more absurd and ridiculous, but at least they're memorable in their absurdity. At least they're fun in their absurdity. This one's just kind of, it just kind of happens. Overall, I think I would give this one like a 6 out of 10. It's not an awful movie. It's right at that borderline of would I recommend it or would I not recommend it. It's not like an awful time to watch. If you watch it, it's good enough. You won't be bored. You get some dinosaur stuff, but it's just so forgettable, not memorable. So there's not really a reason to watch it. If you do, you won't be bored. Not much of a reason to watch it. Coming in number 3 is going to be Lost World Jurassic Park. Now, on paper, it seems like a lot of really good things are in place for this one to be a great follow-up to the first one. Steven Spielberg is returning. For my money, Steven Spielberg is the greatest director of all time. Jeff Goldblum returns. It's based once again off a Michael Crichton book in the series, so that's a good thing. Then the new kind of actors brought in. You got Julianne Moore, you've got Vince Vaughn. So you got a lot of people and pieces in this to make it really good and make it an interesting new take on the Jurassic Park world. And it's a good movie. It's an enjoyable movie. It's certainly not a great movie, though. And there's moments to where you can see there's sequences in it where, as I mentioned before, the trailer sequence where the trailer's falling off the cliff, masterfully directed. This is, clearly a Steven Spielberg-worthy sequence. The sequence where the guys are running in nighttime and velociraptors and T-Rexes are chasing down, people are getting squashed, people are getting hopped on. Very cool, exciting, memorable sequences, but as the overall film doesn't have the magic and the majesty of the original film, just somewhat because of the nature of the plot. The first film tells a story of us going to a world, and along with the characters, we're in awe of what we're seeing and the wonder that dinosaurs have returned. And as a magic moment in cinema history, as an audience just seeing dinosaurs come alive, we're seeing photorealistic dinosaurs for the first time on screen in a way like that had never happened before. So in and of itself, that's very cool. And in this movie, we're not having that experience with our characters. They're cynical from the beginning. It's a rescue kind of, not rescue mission, but it's like this mission from the get-go to deal with a problem. It's not, we're discovering something. So some of the awe is inherently missing from the story. And then likewise, the movie, if they found a way to not have that third act in San Diego with T-Rex doing a Godzilla, I think the movie would have been better, because it feels an awful lot like you have one story that we're telling that ends when we leave the island, and then we do this Godzilla, King Kong, loose on the city thing at the third act that feels tacked on, like we had to have a big third act to the movie. We had to see T-Rex do something crazy. Let's bring T-Rex back home like King Kong. And so then you have this sequence play out that it never felt quite right to me. Even when I saw this when I would have been 15, 16 years old, liked it. It's good, but not great. There's certainly some stuff in where this movie's not a great movie. And so that never fit quite right with me. But like I said, individual sequences, even with T-Rex running around, it's not a poorly directed sequence. It's clearly as slick and well done as anything Steven Spielberg has done. And even I think there's a documentary, one of the channels did a thing called Spielberg on Spielberg, where he did kind of little mini reviews of every single one of his movies. And kind of one of his take on The Lost World was, that's a movie that I wanted to see. That's not really a movie I should have directed. And you can see that somewhat where the other movies in the series where that would be true, and how there was a certain magic missing to where it seemed like he was doing a job, doing something that he felt he needed to do, rather than making a great movie like so many of his movies are. Still, this is a good movie. I guess the scenario is, if I'm looking to watch a Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic Park gives me something. The movie right above this on the list, Jurassic World, gives me something. This movie just feels like, if I'm going to watch a Jurassic Park movie, I'm just going to go Jurassic Park. This one doesn't have a place really that fits into what I would be wanting to watch. Do you like dinosaurs? Yeah, dinosaurs rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to watch Jurassic Park tonight?
Yeah, Lego.
You want to watch Lego? Lego Jurassic Park. Jurassic World, yeah. Right, we watched that last night. We didn't rank that in here. Maybe we should have done Lego Jurassic World. But so it doesn't fit quite. Like it's the one that's kind of like, it's not bad. It is good, but there's not a reason I ever really want to watch it other than, oh, it's been a while since I've watched it. Let's rewatch that one. I just would always pick Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Overall, I'd give this one a 7 out of 10 is what I believe I would probably give this one. Moving on to number 2 on our list is going to be Jurassic World. Now, before I go into my thoughts on this one, and I'm going to say a lot of positive things about it, I very much enjoyed Jurassic World, very much do enjoy Jurassic World, and I pretty much always feel like I'm in the mood to rewatch Jurassic World. With saying that, if you didn't like Jurassic World, if you think it sucked, it wasn't worthy of the name Jurassic Park or the Jurassic Park franchise, if you've got issues with the characterizations, the plot, the issues, I will not try and defend any of those issues. I'm not going to try and tell you you're wrong. This is a movie I would just go, I get it. I totally get why you would watch this movie and go, this is a stupid movie. This is a dumb movie. It's unworthy. I totally get all of that. For me, I just get a lot of enjoyment. This, for me, is the right kind of dumb blockbuster. This is the kind that I watched and I went, I had a lot of fun watching this. So, and it's very consumable for me. This is kind of the movie for me that I call a Taco Bell movie. After church every single Sunday, what do we have for lunch?
Taco Bell.
That's right. We have Taco Bell. You have cheese roll-ups, and I get tacos. Every single week, they're soggy. They're never great, and we love it. It's what we, after church, if we don't get Taco Bell, he'll tell me, we didn't get Taco Bell, and we got to go get Taco Bell. We eat it a lot. We enjoy it a lot. Is it good food? Is it even well done?
Yeah.
No, is what I was going for. It's enjoyable. It's easy to consume and digest often and frequently, but it's not good. And maybe you don't like Taco Bell. Maybe your Taco Bell is McDonald's. Maybe it's Wendy's. Maybe it's Dairy Queen. Maybe it's Sonic. But you have something that you know this is not good. It's not good for you. There's no real way to defend soggy tacos, greasy to the over-the-top greasy pizza. There's no way to defend any of that. You just like it. It's just your thing, and you can eat it all the time. That's what Jurassic World is for me. And the reasons for it are pretty easy to understand. Just if you watch this not as a Jurassic Park movie, but as a monster movie in the Jurassic Park world, there's a lot of stuff to enjoy here. It's a meal that's covered in syrup. It's something doused in your favorite sauce. It's covered in butter. It's easy to consume because it's cheap thrills. You've got Chris Pratt, a guy that I loved on Parks and Rec, not the first season, every other season after that, loved him on there, loved him as Star-Lord. And you got him on a motorcycle riding with velociraptors to battle a genetically engineered dinosaur that later in the movie, the velociraptors team up with the classic T-Rex to battle the genetically engineered dinosaur while Chris Pratt is battling them as well. That's a stupid sentence. I know that. That's ridiculous. I know that. Is it fun? Is it my kind of Taco Bell? Is it my kind of junk food? Absolutely, that is very easy for me to consume. Everything about the way, the stupid of it, all the things, the cheap emotional pulls in certain moments, all the pieces kind of worked for me. Once again, not a great movie. Some of the stuff with the kids and going off on adventures and mom and dad are getting divorced, it doesn't help the movie at all. But for everything, when I went into this movie and wanted to see dinosaur mayhem, wanted to see Chris Pratt shenanigans. Chris Pratt is kind of a guy with a little swagger, even though Chris Pratt was a little bit turned down. He wasn't as funny as he is in some other stuff. But him as action star guy, doing action star guys, teaming up with velociraptors, that's what I wanted to see. It delivered what I wanted. Therefore, it gets an 8 out of 10 for me and my number 2 spot on my Jurassic Park ranking list. And coming in at number 1 is going to be the original Jurassic Park. I'm actually kind of interested to see if down below in the comment sections anyone does have this one at number 1 and why it's not number 1. For me, this movie, it's kind of a perfect version of itself. The movie that they were trying to make, they did it brilliantly. They absolutely pulled it off. And it's a movie that if you haven't watched it for a while, you might forget and not realize that it's like an hour and 10 minutes into the movie before everything goes crazy and starts really getting wild and Grant's out with the kids. It takes a long time for that to happen, and you forget that because the first hour is just as good as the second hour. The first hour, we're in awe and in wonder of what's been created and seeing dinosaurs and seeing the dinosaurs through the perspective of all these characters that we actually are really interested in and find fun. And even the annoying kids are supposed to be annoying kids. It's not just like, oops, we had annoying kids in the movie. Functionally to the story, annoying kids were important to Grant's story arc. For me, they were never actually annoying kids in a way that detracted from the movie. They were the right amount of annoying and the right amount of interest and stuff to be in the right spot to be the perfect element in the film. But you just kind of go through the characters, and Ian Malcolm from being just kind of like the funny guy with this perspective that all of his lines are so quotable, and life finds a way. All the stuff that he does throughout the movie presents a worldview, presents a character that breaks the tension, that finds fun in it with just a little quip, just a little line in it. And because the character's so well realized, and then you have just the right actor playing this character that can pull it off and have the charisma needed. Grant being a character that in certain ways is kind of a very dull, vanilla character, but because he's put in the right scenario, surrounded by the right characters, he becomes very interesting because in a certain sense, he's just a good guy that has the wisdom to see that, hey, this park thing, this is not a great idea. I kind of love it, but it's such a bad idea to do it, and then finds himself on an adventure where, because he's a good guy, he would do the right thing. Likewise, Likewise, Hammett, the one that kind of causes all this to happen by making this whole place, you fully understand how he gets swept away in his vision for all of it, and likewise understand when he changes his mind towards the end of the film. That all these kind of elements, that the characters fit the story they're telling. And the story is told by a master storyteller that knows how to make a scene that's supposed to just have the majesty of we're seeing dinosaurs, and pulls that off. That first time they pull up and they get up and they look up and there's dinosaurs. And it's this just perfectly captured scene on a level that I've tried to figure out, why is it that scene where they first see dinosaurs is so majestic and like has a magic to it that I can't quantify. I can't explain to you like, well, because this shot was like this, and because I can't tell you what it is. But you just, as you're watching it with John Williams' perfect score that is just brings something out of your heart as you're watching it. And it's crafted in a way from a perspective to we don't see what's going along, but you can see the reactions from people. And one person shows another person, and then it's revealed to us what's really going on all around them. And you just see dinosaurs, and here we are almost 25 years later, and they still look magnificent. CGI used absolutely the right way with the right mix of practical with CGI and all the different right places to make us believe that dinosaurs are real. So that the majesty works, the tension works to where finding like little mechanisms in it to where how do we make it so that we don't need to see the T-Rex, but we're terrified of the T-Rex and we know he's coming. This little drop in the vibrations in a cup. Like just something so simple as that is so powerful. The breath on a window, and so we don't have to see this big gigantic CGI T-Rex the whole time to be scared of him because we know he's there and we're not sure where he is, and that's kind of what makes him so terrifying. And so all these sequences so nicely crafted, or finding a way to where when they're climbing over a fence, syncing that up with other things that make sense to be going on at that exact moment. So there's a ticking clock going on. That kind of the most exciting sequence in it is kids in a kitchen with velociraptors, and you're just like at the edge of your seat like, oh wow, this is bad. This is bad, as you're just watching everything unfold. This is how you do a big blockbuster, a thriller, a spectacle movie. It's got kind of all of it. It pulls it off. I don't think I have any flaws with the film. This, for me, is a 10 out of 10 type movie. I love it. If you don't love it, I'm confused. Please explain to me. The 7% of critics out there that gave, I would love to understand that perspective on this movie because I don't get it all. This movie to me is this is a perfect movie. So that's my take on the Jurassic Park series. How about you? Tell me in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, especially if you're kind of that outside the box opinion that doesn't have the original Jurassic Park at the top. The other three, I understand whatever placements you might go with it. I totally understand those other three. The first one, though, I don't get it if you don't have it on the top. So anyway, that's my channel that's my ranking for you. This is my channel too. But remember, coming up this Saturday, I will be ranking every single Christopher Nolan movie that will be coming up in just a few days. Go ahead and check that out. If you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Do movie reviews. I do 2 of these rankings every week, one tied into a new release and one that you guys have recommended that I take on. But I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you. So join me in the comment section, and as always, thank you for watching.